Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the Hope of the Uchiha Clan over on Anime King, and enjoy that guys. And also, stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 2, which I hope that you guys will enjoy. And remember for new, yes, you heard that correctly, I did have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Naruto was asking his father if he was crazy. Gorin promised that she would tell him every single thing. Now that Orochimaru was dead, she would tell him every single thing that she knew about him, all of his bases, all of his locations. Because, like Kabuto, she was one of Orochimaru trusted, so she would tell him everything, as long as they got Yukimaru. Yes, she told him that he would probably die if he was left alone out there. Renji and the others would not take kindly to him, knowing that she was captured here. Worse, if they thought that she was a traitor to their cause. After, disagreeing every now and then, Naruto finally agreed to his father's terms, as both him and Minma took Gorin. Gorin had a seal on her, so she could not betray them even if she tried. She would die. And plus, Naruto warned her that it would not be nice for anyone in there. Not even Yukimaru. As he made his way, Gorin was surprised that she and Minma were going to stay with here. Well, she did heard about the Crimson Death. As Naruto made his way down there, he'd take on Renji and the group without effort, as he did not hesitate in slicing their throats and taking them down. He killed and he slaughtered them. As he finally arrived at the room where he felt the chakra, the immense amount of chakra, but he could feel the softness behind it. But the boy was scared as he came there and showed him what Gorin gave him, a crystal. As Yukimaru was happy, as Naruto picked him up and brought him outside. He then created a clone to take Yukimaru out as he got surrounded. Hundreds of the sound ninjas that were there came charging at him, as he simply smirked. Gorin was happy to see Yukimaru as he hugged her, as Minma stood there, as Gorin thought that Naruto did not make it out when explosions could be heard. As Naruto leveled the entire underground castle, he did not leave a single one of them alive. They were the enemies after all, as he came out unscathed, untouched. With that, they were taken back to Konoha, as Minato spoke to Naruto after a while, as he told him that his mother is talking to this new Uzumaki Karen. But that wasn't something that interested him at the moment, as his father asked him about the upcoming battle. This was like a test, after all. Despite everything, he was still the son of Minato, and Daemon was a son of Inabi, the head officer of the police force. So this was like a test. But Minato told Naruto not to take it overboard and kill Daemon, because despite Daemon being known as one of the rising strong Uchihas, he was no match for Naruto. Minato knew that, as Naruto had to go by Mikado to talk to her so she would not tell his mother about this. As everyone could understand the reason why he didn't want his mother to be here, despite not actually feeling sympathy. He knew that his mother would not like to see him in this state. His brother and father could handle it. And worst of all, he didn't want his sister to be here. He didn't want her to see him as a monster that he was. Mikado was not speaking to him, as she waited until he said something. Despite knowing that he didn't mean it, he still apologized. As she told him that she didn't really like Daemon anyway, a secret between the both of them. The boy was cocky, and just because he got her daughter hand in marriage, he believed that he was the heir or leader of Uchiha clan. Given the fact that he had the most of the younger Uchihas behind him, acting like he was some kind of leader, because he brought all of them, yes, he brought every single one of them. As Seisumi came to speak to Naruto as Naruto saw Sasuke as well, who has truly grown over the past couple of years. As Sasuke told Naruto to stop this nonsense with his sister. After all, the both of them were the best of friends. And besides, he told him to kick Daemon's ass, as Naruto also saw Itachi, who was being groomed to be the next clan head of the clan. As Naruto arrived and Daemon came there, all of his supporters behind him, as Inibi spoke to the Hokage with some mirth in his voice, he really thought that Naruto was gonna lose. As Daemon told Naruto what he wanted, to stay away. He wanted Naruto to stay away from the entire clan, especially her, as most of them understand the underlying meaning. After all, the tension was there and everyone saw it, as Naruto wasn't going to say that he wanted her to stop her marriage with him because of this, and that made Fukaku respect him even more. After all, she had her own thoughts. She was her own person. Something like this could not make him demand her what to do. The thing that he wanted was that blade. Daemon was caught off guard. Even Inibi shook his head no, as that blade was an ancestral blade passed down to Daemon from Inibi. It was passed down to Inibi from his own father. It was going down in generations. As Naruto asked him if he was scared, Daemon told him fine, as he bet the blade. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the PlayStation for yourself, so to be in this new episode. We begin this new episode at the unknown hideout, a location that was rather secretive. In a room stood two men. Two very powerful men through this elemental nation, with their guards behind them. It was none other than Raikage and Oniki himself. Over the past couple of years, despite the villagers sending out siege to attack Konoha, they have been training their men. They were currently discussing the options of weakening Konoha before they tried anything. It wasn't like Kumo and the stone was strong, but Konoha was equally strong, and not to mention they were backed by the Hina-san. Given recent developments and what happened in the past, the San was now 100% behind Minato, and they would not dare jeopardize that. The wild card in all of this was Kiri. Kiri had been through a hectic civil war, but Naruto and Menma had went there. Orders from the rebellion forces. They had cleaned up the forces, allowing Mei Tarumi to take down Yagura and take the spot of Mizukage, but she needed time to rebuild and Konoha never pressured them. But 4 years has passed. That should be enough time to rebuild and got things back in motion. So Kiri was the unknown party in this, but the Raikage has already sent a letter to the Mizukage to get her support in this. This world was full of backstabbers and liars, so it wouldn't be a surprise if the Mizukage decided to betray Konoha after their help. Konoha was too strong, and it needed to be cutting down. The Leaf had the Uchihas, they had the Hyugas, and those boys that are rising through the ranks. Rumors are that they were powerful as their father, or even more powerful. No one knew. And there was the talks of Naruto even being faster than his father. That caught many people off guard, because if Minato could decimate thousands with his Hiraishin, what could Naruto do? So that kind of scared Raikage and Oniki, despite the both of them not wanting to accept it. So they were talking about a critical manner now. "And you sure that he can handle this?" said the Raikage. "Yes. The Akatsuki is made up of highly trained S-rank ninjas. I have already paid them a hefty sum to take down Naruto, Senju Uzumaki. We are going to be crippling Konoha before we do anything. We need to take out their big guns." Has the Mizukage replied anything back to you? No, she has not. I will not approach a San because I already know that you're with Minato 100%, and if they were to find out, things would go hectic. I did not put in the words like I want her to join the war. I told her that there should be alliance between our villages for us to come to some kind of peace talk, but any sensible Kage would know what I want. The place is full of tension. I am no longer going to be sending out my man into their death. Oniki clenched his fists, same for me. I thought the ambush would work on that boy, but again and again he slaughtered my man. But the Akatsuki will take him down. Breaking Konoha morale is what we need right now. After taking him down, we will go after Menma, and then we will break them down one by one. We will make it impossible for any Konoha shinobi to leave the land of fire, and then we will bring war on your doorstep. With the combined force of our 4 TLBCs, they stand no chance. That is why we have to get the both of those boys out of the way first. From what I heard, they're seal masters. and tail beasts going against that strength. Sealing them away would be rather easy for those boys. So, I'm not gonna send my Jinjulkis on battlefield, knowing that it could be captured, and if Konoha were to get their hands on our Jinjulkis, we won't stand a single chance. Onki knew that was true, but he was gonna have to play this smart. We'll just wait on the Akatsuki then, he said. Are you sure they can even be trusted? If they're not, I'll wipe them out myself, Onki said. Meanwhile, at the hidden rain. It's done, said Konan, as she looked towards Nagato. He has paid it. They had asked for a ridiculous sum, yes, a ridiculous amount from the Tishikage, for them to take down Naruto. But the truth behind it was they weren't actually going to kill him. They were going to take him. Well, in the end he will be dead, as they will seal away the Nine Tails. But he could not seal away the Nine Tails to begin with. So they will have to subdue him and keep him away for a long time. Until the war breaks loose. Once he's been captured, notify Konoha, who paid us for our services. Nagato knew what he was doing. The moment Konoha found out, they would retaliate. He had no doubt about that. And then, the world would be pushed into chaos and havoc. The tail beasts would be eventually brought on the battlefield. The reason why he hasn't gone after the One Tails yet was because he didn't want the other nations to know what he was doing. Because if only he knew that he was doing this, he would more kept the tail beasts under tight security. Not even Zetsu was been able to find them lately. And that kind of worry, pain. But eventually they will have to let them out. They will have to bring them into the game. Because Menma and the fourth Hokage, they will not stand for this. None of them will. As Konan nodded, this was a rather dangerous game. They were going to be starting a war to prevent war in the end. But she has believed in Pain since day one, and she would never lose faith in him now. Meanwhile, at Konoha, everyone was watching. As the battle was gonna prove once and for all and end the animosity between these two were, well, gonna be done right now. The animosity, a lot of people has been talking about that, as Naruto's face looked bored. Yes, he did not look like he was gonna go into a fight, he looked bored. He was tired of people saying that they were some rivals to fight, because in actuality, for the past 4 years he has not thought about Daemon, not even once. The only time he thought about him was when he heard that he was gonna marry Sesame, and nothing more. Daemon was not his rival, Daemon wasn't even his league. It was like Naruto was boasting, it was actually facts, and he was about to show that right now. He promised his father that he would not kill him because that would just bring bad animosity between them and the Uchihas, but he was gonna hurt him. There was a reason why he didn't want his mother to be here. As Naruto's eyes became cold, he lowered himself into his stance. Daemon did not hesitate as he shot forward. His Sharingan was not activated because he believed he doesn't need it yet. In a split second he was in front of Naruto as he slammed hands on the ground and launched his feet towards Naruto's head. Deliver a bone-crushing kick to his face. As Naruto ducked his body so low, the kick flew over his face as he felt a breeze pass him. Daemon didn't waste any time as he flipped. As he was over Naruto, he went through hand sign as he took in an enormous breath. He then spewed fire down on Naruto as a massive raging fireball connected with Naruto to fry him to ashes. Daemon then jumped back. When the smoke cleared, Naruto was on his back, a crystal wall over him, as he had blocked the entire fireball. The crystal wall shedded as he quickly got back up to his feet. Daemon didn't waste time as he drew his blade. He then shot forward as he delivered the first swing towards Naruto's neck. Everyone could see it as Fukaku narrowed his eyes. Daemon was not fighting like this was a spar. He was fighting to kill Naruto, as Minato noticed that as well. As he narrowed his eyes towards Inabi, the man took a huge gulp as he also saw what his son was doing. He knew that his son never liked Naruto, but his son was actually trying to kill him. As Menma, on the other hand, was calm. Daemon thought that he was powerful and all that, but it doesn't matter how hard he tried, he could not kill Naruto. Menma had 100% certainty in that. Meanwhile, as Sesame watched the battle, this was because of her. Daemon was doing this because he believed that her and Naruto are going to be doing something behind his back. But Naruto on the other hand, he said that he would not make her choose. It was up to her, her choice. Strangely enough, that just made her like him even more. Daemon was trying to control her, but not Naruto. She knew that her father wanted her to choose her heart. Despite being the cold, calculated man that everyone thought her father was, well, he was, but When you looked deeper, you saw that he was actually a generous man who just wanted the best for his kids. Things were going well with the Uchihas, and this little marriage would not change much. It would boost morale a little bit for Inabi, but it wouldn't change that much. The Uchiha council members wanted this marriage to happen, but if Fukaku knew that this isn't what she wanted, he would put his foot down. After all, he was still the clan head, and there wasn't a single crap that they could say to him to change his mind if he didn't want this marriage to happen. But they believed that it was the right thing. But Fukaku knew in his heart as well, if the clan council ever found out that a marriage was to happen between the son of Minato and his daughter, they would be delighted to hear that, because it would be more influential to the clan, and they would shrug the thought of Daemon marrying his daughter. But it was up to her to choose. Back inside, as Naruto jumped back away from Daemon, as he turned his eyes towards him, Daemon released a bloodthirsty smirk. I told you before, Daemon said, anyone can slip up. Anyone can make a mistake and actually kill their opponent. He threw his blade up into the air. As Naruto watched the blade flipping several times, Daemon tossed a kunai straight towards Naruto before he tossed one up. As Naruto saw the kunai coming, the one that he tossed up in the air knocked off his blade and was sent sailing towards Naruto. But it then connected to the first one that Daemon tossed and knocked it to the side, and now they were coming at him from both angles. Daemon smirked as he rushed in after catching his blade as he brought it down to slice right into Naruto. Two kunais coming from left and right, and one coming towards him at the front, Daemon's blade. As he was about inches away from Naruto, as his speed was quite fast. But yet Naruto seemed calm as he took a breath. Naruto then released a single hand sign. Daemon watched the pores, all of the pores on Naruto's body erupted. A sound wave exploded from him as the kunais and Daemon was sent sailing away. The force was powerful as Daemon slammed hard into the barrier, crashing his back against it. As he still gripped onto his blade though, the moment he looked up, he brought his blade up. The ground underneath him exploded as Naruto brought the full weight of his blade down on Daemon. Daemon cursed as his hands started to tremble. He tried to kick away Naruto's feet, but Naruto jumped. Daemon then sent chakra down to his blade as he swinged it. Daemon had both fire and wind affinity, as a wind slice was sent directly towards Naruto who was in mid-air, who could not dodge. A clone poofed into existence beside Naruto and grabbed him and tossed him away. As the clone got sliced, another clone appeared and Naruto stepped on his back. As Naruto flipped up in air and went through several hand signs before opening his mouth, several hot fireballs of magma was launched towards Daemon. Daemon got up as he dodged each and every one of them, as he went through another set of hand signs before turning, but he did not see Naruto in mid-air anymore. He then looked down, as saliva exploded from his mouth when a fist buried itself in his gut. He was sent sail as he crashed several times on the ground before slamming into the barrier once again. He coughed. He growled in anger as he gripped his blade tight. His hand was trembling. Damn it, damn it, damn it! He slammed his fist into the ground. He had to keep his calm as he saw his peers here. The ones that believed in him, believed in his strength, believed in his boasting. He could not look weak in front of them as he saw his father. His father was quite angry because he bet the blade, something he shouldn't have done. And the way this match was going, it seems like he was gonna lose, and he couldn't afford to let that happen. As his Sharingan flared to life. Fine, I'm done messing around, he said as he looked towards Naruto. I don't really see a difference, said Naruto. You can keep acting cool and calm as you always want. But trust me, said Daemon, this is not going to be like last time. As he gripped his blade once again. He smirked. Why don't we end this once and for all? As Naruto motioned for him to come. As Daemon moved, his speed was ridiculous. Well, he was one of the rising Uchihas. And right now he was showing that. Inabi actually smirked when he saw his son's speed. As Minato watched, as Naruto was calculating every single steps that Daemon make. Before Daemon reached him, Daemon went for a high swing but then ducked and sliced Naruto's throat right open as he brought his blade edge up. As Naruto tilted his head back, Daemon smirked at that as he launched his hand out and grabbed Naruto's pant leg. He then yanked on it, only for a brutal feet to smash in his face, sending him sailing back. Daemon felt something crack as he cursed. His back smashed into the ground, creating dust everywhere. He then looked up as he looked towards Naruto that snarled. How? How didn't his Sharingan saw that? He saw the quick movement, but yet his body would not react in time. No, it couldn't be that he's that faster than him, Daemon thought to himself. Daemon stabbed his blade to the ground before flashing through hand sign, fire style. Fire annihilation jutsu, he said. The fire was massive, so massive in fact there was no room, no space that you could dodge or jump away, as a wall of fire kept spreading as it launched towards Naruto. The heat was intense. Sesame, I started to get worried as she saw Naruto watch the fire coming towards him, but then he slammed his hand on the ground. Ice release, frosty feel, said Naruto, as the ice from his contact spread. It swallowed the entire barrier. He froze the entire ground, rushing towards Daemon. Ice spikes rose out of the ground as they collided with the fire as they exploded in its center, creating a mist. Daemon shot forward. All that you could see was the red ice moving through the smoke. As Daemon saw Naruto unprotected as he swung towards Naruto's back, Daemon cleaved right through Naruto. He smiled as his sword digged into him. But then out of nowhere, Naruto's body started to melt. Daemon cursed as he pulled his hand back, but something splashed on him. Lava. He winced in pain as it burned his arm. He turned, bam! A kick slammed into his face that broke his nose, as blood poured from it even more. But before he could regain his senses or even hit the barrier, something grabbed onto his left arm. Daemon swung his blade around as Naruto blocked it with his own. Daemon got the opening though as he slammed his knee into Naruto's stomach as Naruto staggered back. Daemon smirked at that as he elbowed Naruto in the face. As Naruto dressed back, Daemon then moved forward. He used the tip of his blade to knock Naruto under the chin. With the momentum, he kicked Naruto straight up in the ear as Naruto was lifted off the ground. Daemon smirked at that as he jumped. His blade arm as wind chakra poured through it. His father had warned him if he got the chance, do not kill him, as he was the son of a Hokage and a respected man amongst his peers and many people love in this village. But Daemon was just gonna wound him for him to see it every day. He was gonna carve something into him to make sure that he knew who was the strongest. At first, he wanted to take his life by accident, but everyone saw that he had the opportunity to think what he was doing before making his move, and they would know that he deliberately killed Naruto. So instead, he was gonna aim for a spot to make him ever remember this battle. But the Daemon shot Naruto recover as Naruto blocked his blade with his own. But Daemon still used the momentum to slam his feet into Naruto's stomach and launch him as Naruto crashed on the ground. Daemon wiped the blood that was pouring away from his nose as he landed on his feet gently. He smirked as he looked around, as the Uchihas were smiling, the ones that Daemon brought with him, the younger ones. After all, Daemon told them that today he was going to prove that he was the strongest amongst their peers. They were all smiling as they watched Daemon proving that he was the strongest. Meanwhile, as Naruto live here, "What was that?" said Naruto, as he was unfazed by Daemon attacks. As he was speaking to the fox, Naruto's body has been highly trained to take immense damage, so it wasn't that Daemon punches were not strong, it was not strong to Naruto. "I told you that something is wrong with the seal," the fox said. "Your damn chakra is seeping into it. It's supposed to be the other way around, and it's affecting me more and more." "So it's affecting me now too," said Naruto. "I don't know." "Well, if you had checked the seal earlier, we wouldn't be having this problem." "It's nothing I can't handle," said Naruto. "What exactly is it doing to you?" As Naruto got up and blocked Daemon's strike while speaking to the fox. "I don't know exactly, but yet, I don't feel like ripping you apart as I usually want to do." "What do you mean by that?" said Naruto as he ducked under a swipe. "This condition of yours, with your emotion going away, somehow it is linked to your chakra." "What?" said Naruto. "I don't know if this is reality or if your body is just changing or something like that. I don't know. I don't understand you stupid humans. But yet, I usually feel like ripping you apart the more you keep me locked up in the seal, but now I don't." "So you don't want to kill me," said Naruto. "Well, that's good, isn't it?" "Not for me. I want to tear you apart. After all, we both know that you can release me." "Yes, I can," said Naruto. "And you wouldn't die," said Kurama. "But you know I can't do that," said Naruto. "If I do, things are going to be more hectic right now." If the other nations get their hands on you, what do you think they will do? Kurama growled. Well, if you won't answer, I'll tell you. They will use you to destroy Konoha. And this won't be like your situation right here. They will continuously use your power over and over. Over the past couple of years, tell me, have I forcefully taken your power? Kurama didn't say anything. Answer me, said Naruto. As he was trying to get through to the fox, but he was ignoring him. Do you think that made me like you even better, said Kurama, or hate you even less? That's not the point, said Naruto. I know, we both don't like the situation, but at least I'm trying to help you in some way. I know that you're not a being of pure malice and chaos as people thought. You have a conscience, you have a mind, you have awareness, and I'm actually trying to help you. That doesn't really mean much when you don't actually mean it after all. You don't really have any emotions. Well, if what you're saying is true, that means you're getting them, said Naruto. What? I don't want your stinking emotions, said Kurama. Why? Would the hell I ever want something from you? As Naruto laughed at that, if this is true, then we're gonna have to find a way to stop it. But, how long have you known this was going on for? Since that day. Why? But you told me that this happened before. Yes, I felt your chakra mingling with mine. But now, I feel strange even more. The more it goes on, the more it's affecting me. And I would like you to stop. So, we still have no idea how I'm losing my emotions and how it's going into you. No, said Kurama. So, hurry up and win this fight so we can work on that. Huh. You're willing to work with me, said Naruto. If it means not getting your wretched human feelings, of course. You know you should really pay attention to the fight before he cuts your head off. Nah, said Naruto. I can do two things at once. But it's about time that I hurt him, don't you say? Well, he's been nothing but a bothersome thing. Since the first time that you meet him, why don't you break him a bit? Besides, it's been a good while since I enjoy a good show. Well then, let me truly begin, said Naruto as he stopped talking to Kurama. He blocked Daemon's strike. Daemon was surprised by the new strength. But what the hell? As Naruto pushed back his blade before grabbing him by the shirt and head-butting him. Daemon was knocked senseless for a moment. As Menma smirked, seems like he's ready, said Menma. They all looked back at him. What do you mean, said Sesame? I have seen Naruto fight more than once before. And his mind was not inked at first. He was just testing the waters, but it seems like he's ready. Are you trying to say that he was just toying with my son the entire time, said Inibi. No offense, Inibi-san, said Menma, but Daemon cannot win this match. Well, you will have to side with your brother because he's your brother, said Inibi. No, that's not it. Just watch for yourself. Daemon cannot win. Meanwhile, Daemon winced in pain a bit, but his focus was on Naruto. You know, you're pathetic, said Naruto. What was that, said Daemon. People are always saying that we're rivals, this and that. But you're the one going around spreading that rumor. For the past couple of years, ever since I defeated you in the Forest of Death, Inibi, eyes went wide. So, that was him? Daemon was messed up after the Forest of Death. His eyes were sunken in. His face was bashed in badly. It took weeks of healing for him to get back to normal. He was in a bad state, and he would have died if he had stayed in there for any longer. Luckily, his team had brought him out, fearing his death. As Daemon clenched his fists as the others gasped. As his peers did not know about that either. As Minato always knew that it was Naruto behind it. I actually thought that he would show me something to make me actually believe that we're somehow in the same league. But you're nothing, said Naruto. And the fact that you keep going around springing this nonsense is aggravating me. It's pissing me off, said Naruto as his eyes turned fully red. Minato was surprised. That was anger. He looked towards Menma, who was surprised as well. Naruto was angry. As Naruto was tapping into the fox power, and he was angry. With his son's emotional state completely gone from him, Menma has been watching the entire time, and the only time when Naruto tapped into the fox state was to check if he could feel the rage once again. It was there, but it was not enough to change Naruto's opinion. He was just calm as ever, but now he was actually getting angry. Despite the rage, this was improvement. As Daemon clenched his fists. Well then, why don't you go and try to back those words up? And let me show you once and for all. Daemon was cut off as his head was grabbed by Naruto, before forcefully bashing it into the ground. As Naruto picked him up, Daemon was still holding onto his blade as he swinged it, as Naruto's hand turned into a crystal shard and blocked the blade, before his hand returned back normal and grabbed Daemon's shoulder. As Daemon screamed out in pain as Naruto electrocuted him, his hand mostly as he dropped the blade, as Naruto dropped him and spun and cracked his feet into Daemon's face. Blood exploded from his nose and mouth as Naruto leaped away, before crashing into Daemon's stomach. The ground trembled and broke under Daemon, as Naruto got off and grabbed his face and rubbed it into the dirt, tearing it apart before swinging towards a barrier. As Daemon slammed into it, as Naruto shot forward, he pummeled Daemon as his fists connected one after another as blood exploded from Daemon's mouth. As Naruto grabbed him right by the nose and yanked him with so much force, he picked him off the ground with just his two fingers and threw him. As Daemon was in mid-air, his eyes managed to snap back in focus only to receive a punch directly in his face. He cried in pain as Naruto grabbed his leg and smashed him into the ground like a rag doll 3 times, before picking him back up and slamming his knee into his stomach. As Daemon staggered back as Naruto chopped him in the throat, Daemon gasped as he started to cough. Another headbutt as Daemon dropped down to the ground, only for a knee to crack right in his face, breaking a few of his front teeth. As Naruto grabbed him by the face and lifted him up before sending him sailing. Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed once again and dropped from mid-air. As Naruto supercharged his leg with so much chakra, it was glowing. As he dropped it into Daemon, Daemon's body actually bounced off the ground because of the force as blood spewed from his mouth, as he lost consciousness and regained it within a second, as Naruto kept him in mid-air with several deadly blows, as Naruto broke every single bone in his body before dropping an axe kick into his chest. Few of his ribs cracked as Daemon cried to the heavens before his back connected with the ground. The explosion blocked everyone's sight as smoke filled the entire area. The barrier was instantly dropped as Inabi told him to drop it. This had to stop right now. As men now blew away the smoke as everyone moved forward. When they saw Naruto standing there, surprisingly Daemon was still conscious, although he could not move. Daemon couldn't even speak as his throat had been damaged when Naruto chopped him right into it. As he couldn't move, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even twitch without feeling unimaginable pain. Daemon didn't know what happened. Everything was going so fine and then he was just outclassed so wickedly. His entire body was broken. Not even a single bone was fine. He couldn't move anything without crying out in pain as Inabi stepped forward to the medics rushing over to Daemon's side. As Naruto stooped down and picked up the blade, Inabi cursed. He didn't have anything against Naruto, this was his son's fault for betting something like that. As Naruto stepped forward and handed Inabi the blade, Inabi was confused. "You won," he said. Despite he was angry at his son, Naruto had put his son in a rather bad state. As Daemon coughed up blood, the medics quickly got to work on patching him up as they couldn't move him yet. They had to make sure he was stable, to make sure there wasn't any lasting effect. "Your son is really an arrogant person," said Naruto. "I might not know much about your clan, but I do know that this blade is very valuable to you. It's an heirloom that run down your family. Most of the Uchihas have one," said Naruto. "And for him to bet something like that, for just a petty battle, show how arrogant he is." As Naruto simply handed Inabi the blade as he started to walk away. As their peers, the Uchihas were shocked, as he couldn't believe it. Daemon said that he would win this without having to push himself, because Naruto wasn't anywhere near his league, but the match ended so quickly, most of them didn't even know what happened when Daemon got that first few hits, because he was down within seconds. This was just ridiculous, insane, crazy. And the thing about it was Naruto was completely unharmed. Well, Daemon bit off more than he can chew, and now he's paying for it big time. Well, next time he will know not challenge something that was out of his league. Time skip, in the hospital. As the medics had brought Daemon to the hospital where Tsunade was, after all, she was the best medic and head of the hospital. and they had to make sure there wasn't any lasting damage that would cause Daemon in the future. But Tsunade checked him over, he would be fine. But he has to be in the hospital for a long while. This all could have been avoided if he had just stayed out of Naruto's way. Tsunade stepped out of the hospital to see her son standing there. He's gonna be fine, Minato. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. For a moment there, he thought that Naruto was actually gonna kill Daemon, as Naruto had kicked it up and, well, Daemon couldn't keep up with his speed. Minato always knew this was how the match was gonna end because he knew that Naruto was holding back. He was just checking to see if Daemon was really strong as he thought he was. But, well, that seemed not to be the case. But he surely did a number on him, said Tsunade. Every single bone in his body was broken. Every one of them. His throat was crushed. Minato, look towards her. Don't worry. A couple of weeks, maybe a month, he will be fine. But, well, it's his fault. He was the one that brought up challenge, wasn't he? Yes, said Minato. But, yes, I know. You're trying to keep the peace between everyone. And this doesn't bode well if something bad happens to Daemon. But he's gonna be fine, as I said. So don't sweat it, she said. How are things going with him, she asked. Well, something did happen on the battlefield. He got angry. Wait, really? Said Tsunade. As Minato nodded. Rage is an emotion, she said. Please don't tell Kushina about this, said Minato. I don't want her to get her hopes up, just in case nothing is changing. We'll just have to see for herself. So, I want you to keep it to yourself. She nodded. Tell you what, I'll talk to him myself and see if I can see anything that is changing. That would be appreciated, he said with a smile. Meanwhile, on top of the Hokage's monument, as Naruto looked over the village, as he looked toward his hand, as he opened and closed it, he had surely felt something back there. Raw emotion, rage. It had kicked in so quickly, and yet it was gone so quickly. The rage was there for a second, but then it vanished. But at least the whole mess with Daemon was sorted out. He told him before that he was going to defeat him, and he was going to make it painful. Well, now he will realize that. At least he didn't have any bad blood against the Uchihas. He never wanted Daemon blade in the first place. As Naruto let his blade poof in his palm. His blade was a lot better, reinforced with his mother chains, as the blade had so much seals on it. It was something that, well, most people couldn't understand how to use it. Throughout his many fights, Naruto has never actually used his blade to the full capability, because there were certain things that his blade could do that none other could do. Not even Menma blade could do because of his bloodlines. But that was when he got into a serious fight. It wasn't like his fight so far hasn't been serious or Orochimaru was strong, but Naruto has been pushing his body to a degree. For 4 years straight now, not even 4 years, ever since Mito's death. He pushed his body to the times in the past 4 years where he even passed out while training. He almost died several times. If it wasn't for the fox inside of him, he would have surely died, pushing his chakra to the limit. Without the fox, his chakra was humongous, larger than his father and his mother. Combining them, despite her being an Uzumaki, he was both a Senju and an Uzumaki. His chakra capacity was off the chain. It was ridiculous. His grandmother even compares chakra capacity to Senju Hashirama, the man that was said to have the most chakra in this world, the god of all shinobis. As Naruto has been never pushed the limit so far, where he would have to push himself to either tapping into the fox power or using his trump card. He has spent years of training pushing his body to the limit to make sure that he'd never fall in front of any foe, because defeat for him was like the end. Because if he pushed himself and gave everything that he got, and the enemy still managed to defeat him, there was no way that he was going to survive that battle because the enemy had to be ridiculously powerful. His train of thought was cut off when he felt someone approaching him from behind. As he stood there, the person stood beside him as he looked over the monument with him. Beautiful sight, huh? Naruto got straight to the point. Is there any backlash for the fight? You know, said Seisumi, I knew that I would find you up here. Despite your condition, some things just did not change about you. This was your favorite spot to visit, whenever you're in deep thought, whenever something troubled you. But I guess most things don't trouble you recently. As Naruto did not reply to that. No, she said. Nothing is being done. After all, Daemon was the one that picked the fight. If anything, your praises in the Uchiha clan were just boosts. You see, they didn't want to say it, but many people did not like Daemon that much. He is too arrogant for his own good. Not even Sasuke liked him. You know my brother's a bit arrogant, but, well, Not even Itachi liked him either. Really? Said Naruto. That caught your interest. Because Itachi is relatively a good person and likes everyone. Yeah, said Naruto. Well, then you can see how cocky Daemon is. But I'm glad that you didn't kill him. I always knew that you'd win the fight. But if you had killed him, it would have been a different thing. The animosity would have been there. But you defeated him, and you had the chance to kill him, but you did not. So there's none. Inabi has his family heirloom back, which I'm sure that he will not give back to Daemon. Daemon's gonna be pissed though when he wakes up. It doesn't matter, said Naruto. He's not important anymore. Then, if he's not important, he isn't, she said. He's not, said Naruto. But the both of us will be getting married. So what does that mean for my marriage, she said, if he's not important? As Naruto turned towards her, I said it before and I'll say it again. It is not my choice to make for you. If I say no to this, and something fall out in the future, you will resent me for it, because I don't know if I can give you what you want. And if I say go ahead, you will still resent me for not saying anything. So it's up to you. She stepped forward. Well, tell me something, she said. Do you think there's any chance of you actually caring about me? Actually feeling something for me? Wait, before I ask you that, in the past, despite our bickering, despite all the troubles I put you through, you remember that time when you called me a bitch and I hold over your head for a long time? Yeah, said Naruto. Despite all of that, before we went to the Chunin exams and my mother said that we were going on a date, and we spent the whole day together, and after the Chunin exams we spent a lot of days together as well, to the point where people even thought that we were dating, even though we were not. Tell me, did you feel something for me back then? I just want to know, because if you didn't, that means it doesn't matter if you get your emotions back. You wouldn't feel anything for me either way, she asks. As Naruto stared at her, as she waited for his answer, but he did not answer like she wanted. I don't care for much people, because of what is going on with me. In fact, I don't really care for anyone. But I know. I remind myself every day that these people are the ones I used to love. And these people will be broken if I do things that I do because of my emotions not being there. So I always keep myself in check not to go overboard or too far. Always arriving. Even though I may not show up that day, I always came the other day. You showing up to me. You being so close to me. As Naruto stepped forward, that day, when I hurt you, I knew that I did something horrible. For other people, I wouldn't even register that. It seems like only people I care about. I think that I hurt them, said Naruto. As he then just walked away, leaving her. She was confused. Until his words clicked in her mind, and what Kushina said to her. He did not show up last night, but he did come in the morning to apologize for what he did. Although he doesn't have any emotions, he's trying his best. A small smile came on her face. He still tries, because he knows that it will hurt the person that he cares about. So that means he cared about her. As she watched him leave, as it also pained her heart at the same time, knowing that she would never know when or if he would ever turn back normal, but he did care about her. She had a lot of thinking to do as she made her way off. Time skip a few days later, as Jiraiya stood in front of Minato. So, they're making their move, said Jiraiya. Yeah, said Minato. They want Kira to join them. The Mizukage sent me a letter. They're trying to make their actions sound innocent, but she wanted her to join them so that they could join her in this war. They know that we have the sand on our side, and because of what Naruto and Minma did, they think that we have her as well. But she informed you, said Jiraiya. That's a long way of trust for Akagi. Yes. She doesn't know what to do either. She doesn't want to be on any bad grudge's side right now. Kira has adapted duel over the past couple of years, but they're still not 100% like they were back then. And if it's an alliance, she wants to make it. She also wants to be allied with us as well. But she's not ready to do anything yet. We've given her the time though, and she's really appreciated, said Minato. But she asked me of my opinion. She doesn't know what to do either. Huh. We have a sticky situation here. She can't just outright refuse them. You know how these people are. They might even use this as an act to declare war on her. And if we intervene, they would turn their sights on us as well, saying that we're not allied with her, so why would we ever intervene in this? She said that she has a few thoughts though. Naruto was nearby in a mission. I've sent a few envoys to inform him to go there, to hear her out, and bring back information to me. Well, once he does return, said Jiraiya, we need to plan our next move. Have you talked to the Kazekage? Gaara is behind us 100%. He's willing to fight for Konoha. He doesn't see why we need to start a war with them. Neither do I, said Minato. But he also sees the tension. Other than that, said Minato, have you heard anything else about this group? The Akatsuki. No, said Jiraiya. Minato clenched his fists. That was the group that Orochimaru said that he was a part with that masked man. Gorin had told him everything that she knew about it, which wasn't much. He wanted to find those people, as they need to pay for what they did to his daughter. That thought was still on his mind. He needs to get rid of those mercenary scums as well. But yet Jiraiya hasn't found anything on them. I'll continue to search though, said Jiraiya. Meanwhile, as Naruto was sitting in front of the lovely Mizukage, the woman was many things. Powerful, elegant, smart. But her beauty, well, it would make many lesser men falter from just a single glance from her. But Naruto was a lesser man. As he sat there calmly, your father must have real faith in you. Sending you here all alone to discuss things with me, she said. I mean, this is sensitive matters, she said to him. I am not a child, said Naruto. Well, of course I know that, she said, as she looked him over. In no way or form, she said to him. I have something for your father when you return. As she gave him a scroll. As Naruto took it, were you informed why you're here, she asked. He shook his head. All the Yongus told him was that he had to come here. It was a mission from his father. Well, I'm sure that you know the world is not in a proper place right now, said Mei. As Naruto already knew that. Mei couldn't get a reading from him. He came here with his brother. His brother was more talkative than him, but him, he was different. Well, crazy handsome, but still he was different. And his gaze seemed to just pierce your soul with a single glance. Something that made her unnerving a couple of times, because he could look like he was piercing through her defenses. Not to mention she knew who he was, and the things that he can do. I have been contacted by Kumo to join the alliance with Konoha enemies right now, she said. I wouldn't call them enemies, said Naruto. Oh, what would you call them? Scums. That's gonna get what is coming to them. That sounds like a hefty threat, she said. These people have went out of their way to start something with us. How would you feel if another nation kept on attacking your shinobis? I wouldn't be pleased, she said. So neither am I, said Naruto. So, are you trying to ask me in my opinion whether you should agree to their terms or not? I'm just merely stating something to see your response to this question, she said, as she narrowed her eyes towards him, waiting to hear what he had to say. If you put it this way, they want you to join them so that you can help them destroy Konoha, because there is no way possible that they will let you not be a part of this war if you join their side. And also, if you outright refuse them, if they do come after Konoha in some impossible way, they manage to make Konoha fall, you will be next. I have already thought about that, she said, as she narrowed her eyes towards him. You're a rather dangerous person, you know that, she said to him. You're hard to read, and that makes you unpredictable and dangerous. But if you were in my position, what would you do, she asked. Are you ready to start alliances, Naruto asked. Your village and you and your father has been gracious enough to give us time to rebuild, and that right there that you have in your hand is an alliance between us and your village. Just the formalities for now. When I come towards your village, things will get more technical and detailed, she said. You're also gonna join in with them, said Naruto. She narrowed her eyes. And why would you think that? Because, Mizukage. I told you could call me Mi-san, she said. Well, because Mi-san, said Naruto. You are a different kind of Kage. Even different from my father. There's something about you. You have seen it all already. Despite my father being through war, you're more cautious than him. You will do everything in your possible way to make sure that you will never join war again because you have seen the horrors of it. because you grew up into it. Just like my father. But my father will take the stand if things go too far. But you will try your best to stop it. Are you saying that I'm a coward that is not going to join the war, even if it endanger my people, she asks. No, said Naruto. But you will try your best to smooth things down to keep your people safe and stop the enemies from advancing. So, as long as you have a partnership with Konoha, it doesn't matter if you join these two villages. If they come after you, Konoha does leave their allies out to dry. So, are you saying that your village will protect my own? Me included, said Naruto. Well, that is most gracious of you, she said. I can see why your father sent you here. In this war-torn time, you can never forget about the people that helped you, said Naruto. You're speaking like we're already at war, she asks. Not yet, but you will be soon. And how certain of you are that? What if things change? Trust me, they won't, said Naruto. There's only one way to stop this, and that is where you and I are completely different. Well, I can see why, said me. You actually want a war so that this can be over with, to destroy the tension that is currently being peaking. But I want to bring peace, that's what you're saying. Kages are always right on top of their game, said Naruto. They talked for a bit more, until Naruto had to leave to bring the scroll back to his father. As he was making his way back to Konoha, well, unknown forces were emerging. The moment Naruto was heading towards Kira, he was spotted by Black Zetsu. This was a perfect opportunity. As Naruto was making his way through the bushes, he felt something off. He had to move as a tree was obliterated by a single swipe of a blade. The hungry, scaly blade. As Naruto's eyes went wide, as you remember that night, that blade. As Naruto flipped and landed on his feet. Fast. Well, I wouldn't expect anything less. I heard that you're as fast as your father. How about we test that, shall we? You, said Naruto. As Kisame smiled. Never thought the brat would grow up into this. I'm impressed. Well, how about we have some fun? Samehata can sense your chakra. And she seemed to like it a lot. As Samehata would literally foaming from the mouth. A large tongue coming out of the sword, with a happy, delicious grin on his face. This is a big waste of time, I could be doing something else, said the voice as Naruto turned to see two others. It was none other than Hidan and Kakazu standing there. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, all of them were wearing the Akatsuki cloak. Do you ever shut that trap of yours? Kakazu asks. I could be outperforming, sacrificed for Lord Jashin, but I had to be here, handling this simple brat. As Hidan snarled, let's get this over with. Meanwhile, distance away in the ear. Is this guy real that strong, said Deidara. Pain-sama gave us this mission. Now be quiet and get yourself ready. It's not like he can escape while we're up here. If he tries, I'll simply blow him back to the Stone Ages, said Deidara with a smile. As Naruto realized that he was surrounded. Extra ninjas from everywhere all around him. Well, I guess I have the first swing. As Kisame launched himself towards Naruto. But guys, be in subscribe right here for watching this part 2. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.